Welcome to our channel, INFAPORTPSYCHOLOGY. Today we're going to talk about relationships and self-development. Let's dive into the subject of the dangers of being a mistress. Let's look at why this will bring more trouble than joy. If you are in this situation or thinking about it, stay tuned. Being a mistress may seem like a secret affair, but the consequences are far from hidden. Social stigma, emotional distress, and legal risks. It's a recipe for disaster, leaving you broken and lost. You deserve love, respect, and joy. So let's face it, how society feels about all of this. Society sharply condemns such relationships. This condemnation has real consequences. This public condemnation is not always direct and open. Sometimes it's as subtle as a whisper behind my back or the knowing glances exchanged at a party. These rumors and gossip can spread like wildfire, damaging your reputation and relationships. And that brings me to isolation. Secrecy becomes a way of life. This leads to loneliness and isolation, like being trapped in a golden cage. In addition to social censure and isolation, there's often a heavy sense of shame that comes with being a mistress. This shame can be detrimental to your self-esteem. It's not a life worth living. Social stigma, whispering, isolation, and shame. All of this creates a sense of a double life, exhausting and draining. This can lead to anxiety, depression, and loss of identity. So, we've looked at the social pressures and anxieties associated with being a lover. Let's dig deeper into the psychological impact. Guilt. It's natural to feel guilt when you're involved with someone who is committed to another. This guilt can manifest itself in the form of sleep problems or estrangement from loved ones. And speaking of shame and guilt, don't forget how secrecy affects mental well-being. Living a lie eats you up from the inside out. You become a master of deception, hiding your phone and looking over your shoulder. This need for secrecy creates an environment for anxiety and paranoia. Now let's talk about the emotional roller coaster that comes with being a lover. This type of relationship is rarely stable or predictable. One minute you could be over the moon. The next minute you fall to the ground, struck by the harsh reality. To deal with guilt and emotional turmoil, you can justify your partner's behavior and the situation in front of him. He's unhappy in his marriage. She doesn't understand him like I do. Eventually, he will leave her. These excuses often avoid the painful reality. Let's talk about the emotional price you pay when you're a lover. It's like being strapped into a roller coaster. One day you're on top of the world. The next, you're wondering what you did wrong. This constant uncertainty creates a breeding ground for anxiety and insecurity. You're always on edge. You never know what to expect. It's like you're walking on a knife blade, afraid to say or do the wrong thing. Over time, these emotional swings take their toll. Imagine living with the constant fear of exposure, knowing that your secret could destroy your world. It's like carrying a heavy load that never gets lighter. This load follows you everywhere. It affects your work and relationships. So we have this toxic cocktail of guilt, shame, secrecy, emotional instability, and fear of exposure. When your mind and body are under constant pressure, your well-being is affected. We're talking about headaches, fatigue, trouble sleeping, and a weakened immune system. And that's not to mention the long-term effects on mental health. Let's talk about a topic that can be uncomfortable: money. Finances can be complicated, especially if the partner has more resources. Maybe he treats you to lavish dinners and expensive gifts. The temptation to accept these gestures is great, especially if you are having financial difficulties. But here's the rub. Money often comes at a price, especially in a relationship. This can create an imbalance of power, making you feel obligated. Now imagine you're getting used to a certain lifestyle, relying on him for financial support. Suddenly you are left broke, financially vulnerable. Look, I'm not saying that every guy who dates someone else is going to use money to control his date, but it's important to be aware of potential pitfalls and protect yourself financially. Remember that true love and respect doesn't have to come with a price. Don't let yourself get trapped in a situation where your financial security depends on a relationship. Let's talk about something no one wants to hear about: time. Time is like a river, right? Always flowing, never stops. In a relationship that is going nowhere, you are stuck on a raft just drifting. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and the years flew by. And that's the thing, these years, they're precious, full of opportunities for true love, sincere relationships, and building a future with someone who's committed to you. while you're busy with this guy who's already busy. You're missing out on opportunities to meet someone free, who can give you love and respect. It's like standing in a train station, watching amazing places pass you by, because you're waiting for a train that's already left. Now imagine you wake up one day and you're 40 years old. You spent years in this relationship hoping he would leave his wife, but he didn't. He's still with her, and you're back where you started, only now you're older and have less time to find happiness. But it's never too late to change things. It's never too late to get off that raft and swim to shore. You deserve true love, don't settle for less. So, let's talk about the things that don't get enough attention in these situations. Your health and safety. It may not be the sexiest topic, but it is extremely important. When you're a lover, everything is shrouded in mystery. This secrecy can create risks you don't even realize you have. Let's talk a little bit about sexual health. In a committed relationship, there is trust and transparency, but secrets destroy that trust. You don't know who else he's with. I'm not saying that every guy who dates someone else is going to be irresponsible or dishonest about his sexual health, but here's the thing. You can't afford to risk your health. It's your body, your life, and you deserve to be with someone who respects that. So have those difficult conversations about getting tested and using protection. If he's unwilling to have these conversations openly and honestly, that's a red flag. It means he doesn't prioritize your well-being. Perhaps it's time to reevaluate the whole situation. No passion is worth the risk to your health and peace of mind. You deserve to be with someone who makes you feel safe. Let's talk about something that is hard to acknowledge, but important to realize. How a relationship like this can affect your sense of self. It's like looking in the mirror and not recognizing the person looking back at you. You may begin to question your values and morals. And as the relationship goes on, you may find yourself changing, adapting to fit into his life. You become a master of separation by hiding your true self. Perhaps you start dressing differently, speaking differently, even think differently to please him. But in the process, you lose sight of who you are. It's as if your own light is beginning to fade. It's never too late to reclaim your individuality, to rediscover the strong, vibrant woman you were always meant to be. It all starts with recognizing the situation for what it is, without judgment. You deserve more than that. You deserve a love that is whole and unwavering. Set boundaries. Prioritize and rekindle the hobbies that make you you. This journey of self-discovery can be difficult. It takes courage to walk away from a situation that seems comfortable. The reward is immeasurable. Live an authentic life in alignment with your values. True love and happiness is within your reach. So, let's talk about the touchy subject of emotional attachment. We all want intimacy, don't we? That feeling of closeness with someone when you share your life, your hopes, your dreams. But here's the thing, this emotional attachment can turn into a trap, into invisible chains. You know, at first you might think, hey, I can do this. It's just physical, just a little bit of fun. But emotions have a way of creeping up unnoticed, don't they? Before you know it, you're thinking about her all the time, wondering what she's doing, who she's with. You're constantly checking your phone in hopes of getting a text, a call, a stolen minute together. You start to lose yourself in the shadows of their relationship. You become a secret, a hidden part of their lives. I know it's not easy to give up those strong feelings of attachment. It's like pulling yourself out of a powerful current that's trying to drag you to the bottom. But trust me, it's possible. And it all starts with being honest with yourself. If the answer is no, then it's time to set boundaries. Put your emotional well-being first. Remember, you deserve real love. Love that doesn't hide, a love that requires no compromise. Believe in yourself, you're worthy of a love that's real. You will succeed. Now, let's talk about the risk of emotional burnout. It's emotionally draining. Constant tension, feelings of dissatisfaction. It's like running a marathon, but staying put. You put in the effort, but you're not going anywhere. And over time, it takes its toll. You start to feel exhausted, drained, like you're working your ass off. You may notice that you have become more irritable, that your fuse has been shortened. These are all warning signs that you are on the road to emotional burnout. Filling the soul. So, what can you do about it? Recognize that you are not a superhero. You can't pour from an empty vessel. Replenish your emotional reserves. Only then can you be there for someone else. Putting your well-being first. It means reconnecting with yourself, with your passions, with whatever makes you feel alive. You are worthy of love, of happiness, the relationships that fill you. Don't settle for less. Put your well-being first. The illusion of eternity. Let's talk about the future. It's easy to get carried away with fantasies, isn't it? You envision a life together, a future. But that future is often built on shaky ground. It's like building a house on sand. The tide will wash it all away. Building on quicksand. The reality is that most romances don't last forever. Even when he whispers sweet promises, they are often empty. It's easy to say these things, but the actual choice is a different story. You are left in limbo, waiting for something that may never happen, staring the harsh truth in the eye. I'm not saying that a person can't leave their spouse and start a new relationship. It happens, but this is rare. And even when it happens, there is no guarantee that everything will work out. The truth is that relationships that start with deception and broken promises often carry this burden. Choosing a path. You deserve better than that. A love built on honesty and respect. A love that will stand the test of time. You deserve better than that. Choose yourself, your happiness, a future filled with love. So, we've talked about how this situation can affect you, but let's not forget about the collateral damage. The ripple effect affects the lives of people who may not even be directly involved, but still feel the consequences of your choices. Think about it. How can you be sincere in a relationship when you carry that secret around? How can you make eye contact with your friends, knowing you are hiding a part of yourself? This creates a trust deficit, an invisible barrier to deep connection. You may withdraw into yourself, avoid meeting people to protect your secret. And then there's fear, right? The constant worry of someone finding out, that the truth would come out and ruin lives. It's like walking on a knife blade, constantly looking over your shoulder. Such fear can be paralyzing. I am not saying that it is impossible to restore broken relationships and regain lost trust. It takes time, honesty, and a willingness to take responsibility for your actions. Have difficult conversations, apologize for the pain, and show through actions a determination to make things right. The most difficult experiences can lead to a deeper understanding of self and relationships. So, I know no one wants to hear about legal problems, but we need to talk about it. Being the other man can have serious legal consequences. We live in a society with rules, laws designed to protect families and spouses, and these laws don't disappear just because feelings are involved. If you are in a relationship with someone who is married and you know about the marriage, you could be stepping into a legal minefield. We're talking about things like alienation of affection lawsuits, where your spouse can sue you for interfering with his or her marriage. It may seem crazy, but it happens. And then there's the whole messy divorce thing. You may find yourself embroiled in litigation, especially if it involves jointly acquired property or a custody battle. Believe me, you wouldn't want to be in that situation. Even if you manage to avoid a legal nightmare, there can be serious financial consequences. Alimony, division of property, and potential claims to assets. Let's not forget the emotional damage. Litigation is exhausting, turning you against loved ones. It's a lose-lose situation. So, what is the conclusion to be drawn from this? Protect yourself. Know the legal risks. Think about the consequences of getting involved with a married man. It can be expensive and emotionally devastating. Act wisely and protect your future. So let's talk about something that goes beyond the law, beyond social norms, and touches the very core of who you are. Your ethics, your morals, your conscience. It's about looking in the mirror and asking yourself, what kind of person am I? Am I the kind of person who is comfortable with hurting, breaking trust, betraying the sanctity of commitment? Because here's the thing, even if you try to justify it, rationalize deep down, these actions have consequences. They undermine your integrity, destroy your moral compass. It's like a slow poison eating away at your soul. It can manifest in many different ways: guilt, shame, anxiety, even physical symptoms. You may find yourself distancing yourself from people you care about for fear of their judgment. You may begin to question your own judgment, wondering how you ended up in this situation. And the more you try to suppress those feelings, the more they fester and grow. I'm not here to judge. We all make mistakes. We all have moments when we lose our way. But it's never too late to correct course, to rediscover your moral compass. It all starts with honesty and recognizing the consequences of one's actions. Today we've covered a variety of issues, from social pressures to personal loss. I know it may sound like I'm ruining your holiday, but trust me, as someone who has seen and heard it all, being different is never worth the price. It's like investing in a mirage, chasing empty promises and heartache. But the good news is, you have a choice. You always have a choice. You can walk away from a situation that is putting out your light and start building a life filled with sincerity, respect, and love. You may have to face uncomfortable truths and set boundaries, but trust me, it's worth it. You deserve it. And remember, you deserve a love that is real and